A few days ago, I went to Ziedonis cooperative, or Katlakalns area as it's also known. It's located a tad out of Riga on the west bank of the Daugava River, and you can get there by bus number 12. As you can see here, Waldlauch is an area which is like just 2 kilometers away from there. And on the map, you can see here approximately the route that I took near Katlakalns Cemetery, where I parked my car. I went to Value Street, where there's a sort of a small beach, which is a rather new addition to this area. But this was the route towards the river, where is this small beach area. And it's actually a quiet neighborhood with private houses. As I said, Ziedonis cooperative. In the 70s and 80s, it was like legal way how in Soviet Union you could actually have your own plot of land to own sort of a summer house area where you can build your summer house and spend time and have your own plot of land. And of course, with the independence and with capitalism coming to Latvia, now these plots became rather expensive and people started to build real houses, not summer houses there. But there are still, you can see, find some old summer houses from the 80s, but now they are usually converted to like full normal houses. And yes, when we move further to the riverbank, here it is, some stones there, and we are right next to the area where this beach is located. I suppose in summer it's a really nice place where to hang out. I just noticed it now exploring, so we'll probably visit in the summer and see how it looks. But now in the autumn, as you can see, still rather warm weather, and yeah, it's nice. Nothing special, but there's some this I like this old or weird tree, and there's an area where you can do some barbecue and just sit and look at the river and see the world go by, and some stuff for children to do. Also, just going around, looking around what we have here. As I said, nothing much, but it's nice that there are some of these little places near the river, and we sorely lack it actually in Riga. Those places where you can really go and spend some time near the river, and in the summer, yeah, just to swim around in a nice and clean environment, which is also safe, as here we have the beach sand and the beach itself, place to park bikes. So yeah, it's good. There's also, as usual, in those places, porta potties, the blue ones. I just wanted to check how it looks like from inside, because sometimes they are not really that well kept, but this was clean. You can't experience the smell, but it was nice. Actually, there was nothing really smelly, and there's toilet paper was also there. Some graffiti, but otherwise it was good. As I said, nothing that special, but a few years ago, this was not here. So when I was going around that area in 2017 or 2018 maybe, then there was nothing like of this sort here. So it's good that now people who live in that area, they can experience and enjoy the river even more. And as I said, yeah, this is the previous summer house area sort of, and there are these small roads just for one car and some areas to pass each other, but there's not really a lot of car traffic, of course, going around, because yeah, it's just area of private houses. And if you go on the other side towards yeah, right next to the bank and towards the Riga center, sort of, there's just a gravel road. There's no pavement as such, so maybe it's something that will happen in the future. But there are pretty decent sized buildings here, pretty big houses, as you can see. And yes, people live there. People have made their own car parking areas right next to the river bank. The only issue is that, of course, as I said, that there's not that many areas where you can actually enjoy the river. As you can see in the background there's the southern bridge, so that's Riga already. And on the other side of the river, there's the Tengorex area where there's this nice promenade going along the river until the end of Riga borders and even further out. But here is just some table where you can also sit and look at the river. I'm not sure, maybe it's a private area for these people who live there, but there was some also this small beach where you can sit down. And some Soviet ruins, because still there's some, like this building fenced up and nothing happens there, so maybe in future they will also develop this part. So yes, there are some nice new buildings and some old Soviet ones, but not much of the Soviet like wrecks still are there. I was taking another route out of that area, so again, these small roads, private houses, some summer houses converted to a nice regular buildings for people to live, regular houses. And yes, they primarily wanted to go to the Katlakalns church, which is also located here, and also a bit the cemetery side. So when you arrive with bus 12 from Riga center to Katlakalns cemetery, there is this church further out. So it was built at the end of 18th century in like this typical classicism style with cupola and like this unique shape. The church, the previous one, the wooden church, I think there was already in the 17th century, but yeah, it's Lutheran church from end of 18th century. And again, just some gravel road leading up to it, so it's, if not for cars, maybe it's kind of like this looked like also when the church was already built, so it's now it's refurbished, restored, so to its former glory. And also, yes, here we have Katlakalns cemetery. One thing that I wanted to show from here is the monument to Garly Merkel, who is buried here and who was a Baltic German fighter for Latvian rights and against serfdom. So this monument was built by Society of Latvians in the 1860s as a gratitude of Latvians to Garly Merkel. So it's still standing here in Katlakalns. It's sort of a big deal for Latvians, for those who care about our history. This is how it looks. Yeah, the cemetery, there are some like this Garly Merkel grave from the middle of the 19th century, or I guess the oldest monuments here are from the middle of 19th century. But there are of course now more and more graves. People are still buried there, and there are World War I graves also for Siberian troops of Tsar's army during that time who died fighting around this area, near this area. So yes, here it is, and there's also the bus 12 stop right next to the cemetery if you want to visit the area. A lot of trees, a lot of private homes, like residential areas, suburb of Riga. And there are some places, as I showed, where you can go and see what's there.